All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are tackling one of the biggest, most fascinating challenges in all of AI. How do you keep an artificial intelligence, a machine that literally knows almost everything about human history, up to date with a world that changes by the millisecond? We're going to explore exactly why this is such a hard problem, and then get into the brilliant solutions that are changing the game.
It really is a simple question, isn't it? But it gets right to the heart of a massive fundamental problem. You can ask an AI to write a perfect Shakespearean sonnet about Julius Caesar, no problem. But ask it about yesterday's stock market news or a brand new product that just launched, and you'll either get a polite, "I can't help with that," or even worse, it'll just make something up. So what is going on under the hood?
Well, the issue has a name, and it's called the knowledge cutoff. You can picture it like a great invisible wall of time that separates everything the AI was trained on from, well, right now. And this isn't just some minor bug to be patched. It's a core limitation baked into how these incredibly powerful models are built from the ground up.
Here's the best way to think about it. An AI's knowledge is basically a giant, comprehensive encyclopedia. It is incredibly detailed and fantastically accurate, but only up to the day it was printed. The second a new scientific discovery is made, a new CEO is appointed, or a world record is broken, that encyclopedia instantly becomes a piece of history.
And for a business, this isn't just an inconvenience, it's a huge risk. You're trying to operate with an AI that's stuck in the past. It literally can't process new information. The cost to retrain it is astronomical, so it rarely happens. And here's the really weird part. Even when you show it new facts, it has this strange bias to prefer the old, outdated information it saw more frequently during its training.
So the logical next thought for all of us is, okay, well, can't we just teach it? Give it a little update, a quick lesson on what's happened since it was trained? This process is called fine-tuning, and on the surface, it seems like the perfect common-sense solution. But as we're about to see, how these AIs actually learn is way more complicated than we think.
And this chart just says it all. The research is crystal clear. How you teach the AI makes a world of difference. If you fine-tune it using tasks that require real comprehension, like answering questions about a topic, it only retains about 48% of the new knowledge. Okay, not great. But look at this. If you use simpler tasks like translation, that retention rate plummets to just 17%. It's the same information. This tells us the AI isn't truly learning and integrating the new facts, it's just surface-level memorizing.
So, if we can't just keep cramming new chapters into our encyclopedia, what's the alternative? Well, the first major breakthrough is to stop trying to change the book itself, and instead, just give it an open connection to a live, always updating library.
And this is the fundamental difference between fine-tuning and a brilliant technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. Fine-tuning is like trying to print and insert a whole new chapter. It's expensive, and the AI might forget it anyway. RAG, on the other hand, is like giving that old encyclopedia a live internet connection. It doesn't change what's printed, it just looks up the latest, most relevant information in real time before it gives you an answer.
So how does this magic actually work? It's a really elegant 5-step process. First, the RAG system sucks in all your data, documents, databases, you name it. Then it chops up that information into small, manageable chunks and creates a smart, searchable index. Now, when you ask a question, it finds the most relevant chunks of information and hands them to the AI along with your question. The crucial part is this. The AI is no longer just relying on its old static memory. It's building its answer based on fresh evidence you just gave it.
Okay, RAG sounds like a silver bullet, right? But it has its own challenges. Basic RAG is amazing at finding one specific fact in one document. But what happens when you ask a complex question? One where the answer is scattered, with little clues hidden across dozens of different sources. That's where the system can really struggle to connect the dots and give you the whole picture.
And this is where the next evolution, something called graph RAG, comes into play. Instead of just searching for similar text, this technique builds an actual knowledge graph. It understands the relationships between all those scattered pieces of information. And the results are just staggering. We're talking about a 3.4 times improvement in accuracy. Correctness rates jump from a coin flip 50% to over 80%. And it's so much more efficient, it can reduce the amount of data needed by up to 97%. It's a total game changer.
Okay, so RAG gives the AI an external open book library. That's one solution. But what if we absolutely need to change a fundamental fact inside the AI's own brain? Well, this brings us to a completely different and way more delicate approach.
This is called model editing, and you should really think of it as performing microscopic surgery on the AI's neural network.
Instead of retraining the entire model, which, remember, is like reprinting the whole encyclopedia set, you go in with a scalpel, find the exact location where a fact is stored, and carefully update it. It is incredibly precise work.
But this surgery has proven to be almost impossibly difficult. For years, researchers have been banging their heads against what they call the impossible triangle. You see, you could never achieve all three of these things at once. You need the edit to be reliable. The AI has to remember it. You need it to generalize, so it can apply the new fact in different situations. And most critically, you need locality. You have to be sure your surgery doesn't cause unexpected side effects and accidentally break some totally unrelated piece of knowledge.
So how do you solve an impossible problem? You don't. You change the entire architecture. The absolute breakthrough idea was to stop trying to operate on the main brain at all, and instead, just give the AI a second, separate one just for new information.
And that's what the WISE architecture does. It creates a side memory, a totally separate area where all the new edited facts are stored. This leaves the original main memory untouched, preserving all its core reasoning abilities. Then, a smart little router acts like a traffic cop, looking at any incoming question and directing it to the right place, either the old stable knowledge base or the new updated side memory. It's a brilliant way to solve the impossible triangle by keeping the edits safe and isolated. So now, with these incredible solutions in our toolkit, dynamic, real-time knowledge from RAG, and precise surgical updates from model editing, AI is ready to evolve. It can finally move beyond just answering our questions and start taking action in the real world. And this is the beginning of the era of the AI agent. So what is an agent? It's an autonomous system that uses a large language model as its brain, its core reasoning engine. It doesn't just respond to a prompt, it plans. It executes complex, multi-step tasks, and it uses tools like a RAG system to go out and gather the information it needs to achieve a goal, all by itself.
And I want to be crystal clear. This is not some niche academic concept we're talking about. This is the future of how business gets done. The projected market for these agentic RAG systems is set to explode to $165 billion within the next decade. But for these agents to actually work, our whole idea of what RAG is has to evolve too. As this quote puts it, RAG is transforming. It's no longer just about augmenting generation. It's becoming a context engine. It's the central hub that gives an agent everything it needs, not just knowledge, but also memory of what it's done before and access to the tools it can use. It provides the full context to understand a situation and act intelligently.
This massive shift in technology creates a brand new strategic reality for basically every business on the planet. The rules we've all followed for years about how to be found online, they're being completely torn up and rewritten as we speak.
For the last 2 decades, every business has been obsessed with SEO, search engine optimization. Well, get ready for GEO, generative engine optimization. The goal is no longer just to be discoverable by a human typing keywords into a search bar. The new goal is to be perfectly understandable by an AI agent that's trying to accomplish a task. And that means the focus has to shift from keywords and backlinks to clean, structured, machine-readable data.
And here is exactly why this is so unbelievably critical. Just look at these projected hallucination rates for AIs doing factual searches. These numbers are terrifying. For any serious business, an error rate of 45% or even 37% is completely unacceptable. This is why grounding your AI with your own verified data, using systems like advanced RAG, isn't a nice-to-have. It's an absolute, non-negotiable requirement for building AI you can actually trust.
So, as we wrap this up, it all comes down to one simple question every single business leader needs to be asking themselves right now. Is your AI strategy built on a static, outdated library of information that's frozen in time? Or are you investing in the technology and the infrastructure to build a dynamic, self-updating, and truly intelligent brain? Because the answer to that question is going to define the winners and the losers of the next technological age. Thanks for tuning in.